Hey guys, this is Keyboard Matrix here. The last time we did how to make the Avengers theme, I did it in Studio One. So this time I thought I'll talk about perfect pitch. So I was just going through some of the YouTube recommendations and I found there's an artist called as Charlie Puth. Right? A really brilliant musician, a really successful artist. He's a singer and he programs music, and I think he uses Pro Tools. That's what I've seen in many of his videos. There was a video of somebody testing him with this, what I have here on screen. It's called as absolute pitch or perfect pitch. So basically what happened in that video is that somebody would tell him to sing a note, and then out of nowhere, he doesn't have a piano lying around, he doesn't have a guitar, nothing. He would just sing the note correctly. And how would they find that if it is right or not? Simple, they just used a tuner app on a phone, and then they would find out that he's singing exactly on that. He would turn it against himself like that, so he can't see the screen. And when he sings the note, the tuner would show that he's singing exactly on the correct note. So this means that he is able to reproduce notes without any sort of reference given to him. So basically that's what's called as perfect pitch. So what's written here on Wikipedia is it's a rare ability of a person to identify or recreate a given musical note without the benefit of a reference tone, right? So absolute pitch may be demonstrated using linguistic labeling, associating mental imagery with the note, or sensory motor responses. So linguistic labeling means basically you communicate what the note is, like you have it in mind. So the best way of confirming that the note is right is by telling what note it is, C, D, E, F. That's called as linguistic labeling, associating mental imagery with the note. So I read that he uses flashcards. He imagines flashcards in his head of what note he gets. So after I start doing some exercise, we'll get to know what it means. For example, an AP possessor can accurately reproduce a heard tone on one musical instrument without hunting for the correct pitch. The word hunting here refers to the fact that, let me think of it this way, in a way that you guys can understand. So this screen, if I asked you what color it is, you would say it's white. But how did you identify that it's white in color? It's because you're experienced with your visual sense that this is white in color. So I didn't need to show you some other color. I didn't need to tell you the text is black, so what is the color of the screen? Like you'd say it's white. I didn't need to know what color is black, like how black looks like. You immediately find out that this is white. So the same way, that's how perfect pitch actually applies. But in terms of audio or music in general, how do you visualize something, right? It seems very bizarre to think about that. How do I visualize a note? Like how do I visualize that that's what the note it is? When some note is played, how will you find out that that's what is the note? So that's what we're going to see today by attempting a challenge. So how do you declare that somebody has perfect pitch? Somebody can identify the name of individual pitches played on various instruments. So pitches, scales, and when somebody shows a random part of the song, they're at least able to tell some analytics, like the chords that are played or the notes that were exactly played on it, and etc. Name the key of a piece of tonal music. That's what I think extended from the previous point. Identify and name the tones of given chord or other tonal mass. Now basically a chord means what? It's a series of 3 or more notes. The goal here is to not tell the technical name of the chord, right? It is to tell what notes were played in the chord. That's more important. So if I play somebody G major, I'm not expecting somebody to, G major is easy, but I'm not expecting somebody to say G major. I can also expect them to say, okay, you played G, B, and D. You played these three together, or whatever order it is in that, tonic chords and all that. It could be D, G, B, and all that, the other triads related to the same chord. So somebody is able to identify that, it's valid. That's an acceptable answer. Accurately sing a named pitch. So now singing is more or less considered as the best way to judge somebody having perfect pitch, because it comes directly from within. Singing is like that, whereas you don't have these kind of instruments, or you don't have these to support you. You can't memorize these keys over here, and then you cannot be given the keyboard to find out the scale. You have to just on the go find it out, right? Name the pitches of common everyday sounds such as car horns and alarms. Now uh, look, the thing is, I'm not expecting somebody to find the pitch of an ambulance siren or something, because it's like it's like using a pitch bend on the keyboard. Like if somebody's playing between C sharp and D, for example, you obviously cannot tell them what note was it, C sharp or D. They will tell the note lies between C sharp and D. So these kind of sounds will be like that. So this is just for fun. I think they wrote this thing, name the pitches of everyday sounds. Maybe car horns, that might work. Even so, this form of pitch training can require considerable motivation, time, and effort, and it is not retained without constant practice and reinforcement. Oh, so according to them, they say that if you don't practice such a skill, you could actually forget it, which is, I didn't know that. So one more point is, certain people who train to name notes may indeed become able to identify all 12 notes of the scale with 90% accuracy or above. So you basically have to figure out the 12 notes of the scale, means the chromatic scale. You have to figure out all of them. So you're not given a pentatonic scale to find out. That's not called perfect pitch, like, because when the number of choices reduces, you tend to remember the notes for a short period of time, but after the test is over you might forget it. So that's not called perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is you're able to retain all 12 notes of the scale at any point of time. So I'll be back with the test, so stay tuned. Okay, we are here with the web page, perfect pitch quiz, right? So basically I'll just summarize this. In this exercise you'll hear a single note. Your goal is to identify the name of the note. So they'll be using a piano, tested this out. They'll be using a piano and they'll play a single note, random note. And when I mean random, I mean all the 88 notes of this. This is not an 88 key, but 88 key of the real grand piano. You have to be able to decipher 1 out of 88, right? So that's the difficulty of this thing. So you have the notes given here. Simple is C D E, C D E F G, C D E F G A B, and chromatic all notes. And guess what I'm going to take? I'm going to take chromatic. Just get right into it. Now the questions. So it says leave as 0 for never ending quiz. I mean, we are making a video, so we can't leave it at 0. I guess 30 might be a good number. I mean, I don't think I can luck out on 30 questions. Like, I can't just randomly guess. So we have some other options here. Auto proceed. Automatically proceed to the next interval after identifying the correct answer. So I want this checked. So basically, you don't need to click the checkbox and then press go to next. It'll just go to the next thing as and when you select the option. Okay, let's start the quiz. So there's an options over here. Select the notes on which you want to be tested. I don't touch all of this because we are doing chromatic scale notes. So I don't want to like narrow down my options here. So perfect pitch quiz, and this is the status bar, how many questions we have. And remember, we have 30 questions to answer over here, right? So the moment I press here first question, it's going to play a random note and I have to guess that, right? So let's begin. Do I have perfect pitch or not? Let's find out. Is that G? Oh, it's G. I think that's C. I think that's D sharp. That's C sharp. No way. I think that's B. That's D sharp again. Oh, it went to a lower octave. That's E. That's G sharp. That's G sharp again, lower octave. That's G. That's E flat? No. Yeah, E flat. Yeah, it is. That's B. That's A sharp. That's F. That's G sharp. Wow. That is D sharp. That's G sharp. That's D sharp again. That's E. That's F. That's B. That's D sharp. Yeah. That's F. That's B. That's B again. That's G. That's C. How many questions? Yeah, 27. That was D. That's F sharp. That's C sharp. Wow. 100%. Wow. You identified 30 out of 30 correctly. And they give the notes that you identified correctly. Seriously, I have perfect pitch. Sorry, I just can't. 0.530 out of 30. That's insane. You know what? I don't feel like ending the video like this, just like that. We're going to make this even harder. We're going to blitz through this, right? And when I mean blitz, I'm going to go as fast as I can. So that should be a final confirmation that I have perfect pitch, because literally there won't be time. There'll be like hardly a few seconds time between each of the notes. So let's do this. Okay, 3, 2, 1, start. That's F. That's E. That's C sharp. That's F. That's D sharp. That's F sharp. That's C. That's B. That's B. That's E. That's A sharp. That's E flat. That's E flat again. That's E. That's E flat. That's D. That's F sharp. That's A. That's D. That's F sharp. That's C. That's B. That's B. That's E. That's F. That's F. That's F sharp. That's C sharp. That's G sharp. That's G. Wow. Got all of them correct. Holy crap. So wow. So interesting. So I think, yeah, D sharp came quite some number of times. I knew. So these are the number of times that you hear this. Have they chosen all the notes? I wonder. C sharp, D. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. They test on all notes, so nobody is biased over here. You can't escape any of the notes here, and the number of times that you hear them are random. So there is no way I could have found out beforehand that these are the notes that are going to be played. So what I feel like telling at this point of time is that I think the blitz round is the way to test someone if they have perfect pitch, and of course in chromatic scale, like that's most important. If somebody can do this test with the chromatic scale and like super fast speed, I think they have perfect pitch. I don't have any reason to. I don't know what else you can judge somebody on saying. Like there is nothing to figure out incorrectly from this, because literally you saw I did not have any time gap between many of the notes. So there is no way I could have, like, I couldn't have had C, for example, mind, like C is pum, and if the question says G sharp, I would have to take time to reach that note. I have to do like C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Look at how much time is gone. That it's no longer a blitz round. So according to Charlie Puth, right? So before we conclude, so according to Charlie Puth, he says that he develops flashcards in his mind whenever he hears the note, right? Whenever he wants to figure out the pitch of a note. So the thing is that I don't have any flashcards in my mind. That's the thing. I don't develop flashcards like the way he does. Now, I'm not saying that his method is wrong, because I think he's even faster than me at identifying pitches. But the way maybe I think of it is that maybe when I hear the note, I attribute it with the frequency, what frequency it is. But I don't visualize it, like it's kind of difficult to explain in words, but I don't really visualize it like Charlie Puth said. Now Charlie Puth is not the only one who has perfect pitch. Like famous stars like Mariah Carey, Michael Jackson, Beethoven, Mozart, and even a person from India, a guy named as Lydian Nadaswaram, he also has perfect pitch. So it's not very common, this ability, but apparently what I heard from some websites is it's like 1 in 10,000, which is like which is pretty rare. Like and even some of the YouTube channels like Jimmy Fallon, for example, he stated that less than 4 in 10,000 have perfect pitch. That's what he said in one of his interviews with Charlie Puth. Personally, where this ability I can find useful is that I don't need the tuner app. So like, because I know these notes, I don't need a tuner app to figure out if some note is being played wrong or something. That is maybe one. But the second thing is, like, I'm average in vocals, but what is left for me is voice control. I have to develop that, because I know what is pitch. I know what pitch I'm singing at. I understand that. And maybe one more thing is, let's say somebody is singing without any karaoke, without any sort of reference track, or without any kind of pitch reference. I can tell if they are singing out of pitch. And to be honest, people with perfect pitch, right, whenever we see musicians on stage and they are singing out of pitch, or some instrument is not playing according to pitch, sometimes we feel triggered. Like we know what's the answer, right? We know what they should be playing, but constantly they hit the wrong note. So it tends to drive people with perfect pitch a little crazy. Although it is just something that you develop with time, because you expose yourself to these basic notes, right? You expose yourself to these basic notes so much that they just register in your mind. You don't need to actively think about these notes. So this sometimes when I'm trying to make songs, I'm trying to program songs of other artists or something, I don't need to see notation. Like that's one thing. I don't need to see notation. I can just find out from what notes they're playing. And with a bit of psychoacoustics, of course. Like by psychoacoustics I mean you have a mixed and a master track that is being played on YouTube, but the thing is they have so many instruments that are layered, right? So you have to selectively filter out the instrument that you want to hear, right? That subject is called as psychoacoustics. So you have to apply a bit of that and focus on that one instrument that's playing in the background, and then figure out what notes are being played. So that's how this works. And yeah, so 30 out of 30 correctly, or 100%. So it says here, if you want to improve, bookmark this exercise and practice a little bit every day. Yeah, this actually comes under ear training. This So in many music schools abroad, they actually teach ear training. They impart ear training to many youngsters so that they'll develop it at a young age itself. So they say there's something called as a critical development, or it occurs at the age of 6 to 7. Critical hearing, they say, if somebody has undergone musical training or a good level of exposure in music, there's a chance that they may end up with this. But personally, I never figured this out for a long time. Until I saw Charlie Puth's video. Like, I was just seeing it and I was like, do I have it? And then I up on various sites and I was like, wow, I could just find it out. I could just find out the pitch right from nowhere. So yeah, that summarizes this whole thing. So the point of this video is, in case you know somebody else who has perfect pitch, you can share this video with them so that you can make this more aware. Like, there are three types of people, right? The one who have perfect pitch right from like when they were born, and they figure it out early in their life itself. The ones who are not actively involved in learning it, but they do develop relative pitch. So relative pitch is it's an okay this thing. So you at least know whether the notes are correct or not. That's what is you Whether the notes are correct or not, you can figure out. But the actual corrections, the actual analysis of, okay, whether that's exactly playing on tune, whether that note is supposed to be there, not so possible with relative pitch. So that's relative pitch. So with relative pitch, you give somebody, for example, C. Like if I give them that's C, right? So from there they can find out all the other notes. And I think majority of musicians will be having this. Majority of intermediate and advanced musicians will be knowing relative pitch. The next level is absolute pitch, which it's quite rare, as I said. Yeah, it's an ability in a way. So till now I've not really met anybody who has perfect pitch. I just know about famous people who have it. So yeah, so you can try this test out for yourself. It's free on internet to be done, and you can figure out, like, if you truly have perfect pitch, you should get 30 out of 30. That's what this test is. As it says here, you can practice a little bit every day. You should be I feel you should practice with other instruments also. I mean, this is only piano over here. Yeah, since this website has only piano available, I can't really choose like any other instrument. It's not available. So thanks for watching this far. So do like, share, subscribe to this channel if you liked it. I'm slowly trying to move the channel towards these kind of educational videos, so that there's more awareness created about all this, because not many people make about this kind of stuff. So if somebody happens to find this and they figure out that they have perfect pitch, well, wow, they figured out through my video. So my videos will one day help people. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye.